know, guys, this is a test. This is my first time, and I can't see. Okay, I guess we wait now. I don't know. I've never done live before. I've never done live. I don't. I see 5 people, but I don't see a chat. Show live chat messages. Show. I don't see. Do I gotta turn it this way, maybe? Nope. I'm trying to find a chat, guys. It says show live chat messages, but I'm not seeing. Oops, that flipped the camera. How do you see the chat messages? This is bullshit. I keep hitting show live chat messages. You know what? Oh, I see somebody. Us and them. I see you. All right. And then it goes away, so I can't. There's not like a list where I can see people's messages. It pops up and then it fades away. There's not like a list for me to see everybody's messages. Hi, Holly. Awesome. And hi, us and them. How are you guys tonight? First time live, never done this, guys, so bear with me. Okay, that seems to work. So whenever somebody says something, it pops up and then it fades away. So hopefully I'll be able to catch everybody's questions in time. Take your time. Okay, Holly. You guys got some time to kill on Friday night. Y'all see it? It didn't even ding this time. Why are you in my face? He does this every time, guys. You know I'm not lying. Every video. I guess he'll do it on the live thing, too. I don't know. Okay, we got 4 people. Does anybody... Okay, wait a minute. Okay, oh, okay, I had to scroll. Hey, Carlos. Well, that's annoying. Like, you gotta scroll through. It doesn't just do it by itself. That's annoying. Brooke. I saw Brooke. Okay, guys, so, like, it pops up when somebody says something, and I'm gonna have to scroll. And then it fades away when nobody's talking. So I gotta try and, like, catch it. Okay. We got 5 people so far. Anybody got any rootworking questions? Now, let me just say, don't ask me for specific formularies on things. Now, I will give out, like, if you ask me, oh, Mama, what's some good stuff for protection? I can give you some of that stuff, but I'm not going to specifically give instruction on how to do some works. Some things I'd like to discuss, and I'm hoping people have these questions, is like, let's say a spirit jumps on you, okay, and how do you, like, how maybe you get it off of you, you know, kind of stuff like this. Maybe working in different places and protocols and stuff like that. But you guys go ahead and ask me what you want to ask me, and I will do my best to help y'all out here. It says video not available. Asta McGuire. Hi, Silver Dragon. Asta McGuire says it says video unavailable. Is anybody else getting that? Can y'all see me? Can y'all hear me? Holly can hear me and see me. Okay. Apparently Asta McGuire is the one with the issue here then. Maybe he just needs to reload it. I don't know. I'm here to answer your questions, guys, so go ahead and shoot. What do you want to know about Rootwork? What do you want to know about folk magic and conjure? What questions do you got? Okay, Brooke says it's choppy a little bit. Us and them is from Georgia, and they got me. All right. Carlos wants to know, where is my favorite place to work, to communicate with the spirits, to honor them? That depends on the spirit that I want to work with. Different spirits reside in different places, obviously. You go to the river if you want to work with those type of spirits. I go all over the place. I go to the woods, I go to the cemeteries, I go, you know, all over the place to where I gotta go, where them spirits reside. That's where you gotta go. I don't think I have a favorite. I'm hoping to get out of my cellar soon. When we get the farm, I'm gonna have a nice shack built. Like, if it doesn't have a barn on the property already, I'm gonna have like a nice shed, you know, with windows and a nice little porch and like all this stuff on it. And that's where I'm gonna put all the stuff that can't be inside the house. And hopefully it'll be warm and not freezing like it is in my cellar. It's cold down there, y'all. It is cold. In the summer, it's nice though. It's like perfect in the summer because it's like 100 degrees out. And you go down there and it's like 70. It's a good, you know, you don't need air conditioning or nothing. But in the winter, I need space heaters down there. It is cold. It is cold. Hi, Angel T. Okay, Carlos wants to know, when I started my new path, did I have to work with spirits that I don't like? I wouldn't say spirits that I don't like, but I've had to do things that conflicted with my previous beliefs. I don't know if you guys seen the previous video I did on this new path containing Espiritismo and working with saints and a lot of Catholicism and that kind of stuff. So that was kind of a conflict with me. I'm slowly getting over that, and I'm actually, some saints are working really good for me, and the more I come to understand it, the easier it's become. Believe it or not, guys, I am actually planning on attending a Palm Sunday service in about 2 weeks. So well, number one, I need supplies. But I thought it would be interesting to attend that particular service. So I'm actually planning on doing that. Okay. Tuka Waka, hello. Have I ever had a spirit attached to an object and interject in spell work? He had a crow attached to a rattle, but didn't know how to detach it without destroying the rattle. I have experienced that numerous times. I actually had a battle with a haunted mirror a couple months ago that came from my mother-in-law's house, and it's still out in the garage. I have not figured out, other than the only remedy I have really come around to with that mirror is burying it for quite a while, perhaps in a churchyard. Is the only remedy I could think of to get rid of that. A lot of things, like, I learned my lesson with these saints that I just started working with. You know, I'm thrifty, y'all. I go to thrift stores all the time. So I'm in a thrift store and I'm finding saint statues and stuff. And and I learned very quickly that you don't want used saint statues, especially from a thrift store, because there's a reason that people got rid of those statues. People don't get rid of saints. They don't. That's typically something that's held on to. It's perhaps passed on through families. It's not something you typically get rid of. So if you see a saint in a thrift store, there's probably something wrong with it. And I learned that lesson the hard way. I actually got a bunk St. Anthony statue, and I don't know if you guys know anything about St. Anthony, but he's the finder of lost objects. He's supposed to, if you lose something, you can go to St. Anthony and be like, hey, find this for me, and give him, you know, a little coin or something, and he'll find your object for you, and stuff like that. Well, my Anthony worked the opposite. From the second I picked him up in the thrift store, I immediately lost $50 out of my pocket. Gone. I think I dropped it somewhere in the thrift store after I picked him up. And then when I brought him home, things started disappearing around the house. And like this is my third electric cigarette because it kept vanishing. And yeah, so he actually had some kind of a spirit attached to him that kind of did the opposite of what St. Anthony is supposed to do. Like, instead of finding things, he would take things. So I actually got rid of him in a river. Gave him to the river and get rid of this damn thing, get it away from me. And the second I threw him in the river, I found my $50. Well, I didn't find $50, but $50 came to me. Let me just put it that way. I didn't find the $50 I lost, but I regained the $50 that I lost in another way. So, but as far as an object having an attachment, how to get rid of it, the best way that I know of to get rid of it is to bury it. You can bury it in a churchyard, in a cemetery, in the woods. You let the ground kind of absorb that spirit and that energy and remove it. So I probably have a lot of things to catch up on here. Okay, so that answered Tuka Waka's question. Brooke says, what's a good reversing method, in my opinion, like reversing someone's bad behavior and gossip without being too harsh? I don't think what you're talking about is a reverse. A reverse actually is like a mirror. It's basically used when someone throws something at you, you kind of reflect it back. You block it and kind of throw it back. It's like a game of tennis, you know. They throw it at you and you whack it back at them. That's pretty much what a reverse is. How to stop someone's bad behavior and gossip. Gossip, now we can do that. There's many ways to stop gossip and slander. One of my favorites is a shut the fuck up jar. You guys know I don't use jars very often, but this is a good one for a jar because it kind of traps it in the jar. And what's cool about the jar is you can keep adding motherfuckers into that thing. You can put them in the shut the fuck up jar. Every time you add someone in it, burn a new candle on top of it. You know, put your, for shut the fuck up, let's see. You can use slippery elm is a very good one. Alum is also very good. I don't know if you guys ever seen the old Looney Tunes cartoons with the Bugs Bunny and Sylvester and Tweety. But they used alum a lot in those cartoons. And when they would use the alum, their lips, they pucker up. And it kind of shuts their mouth and they can't talk. Alum is a good one for shut the fuck up, kind of works. But yeah, a shut the fuck up jar is my favorite for gossip and slander. You just keep throwing motherfuckers in that jar, burn a new candle on it every time, and just have all your alum and your slippery elm and all your other stuff in there. I actually sell a Tapaboca oil, which is for shut the fuck up. Now, there's other ways to do this. You can do the cow tongue. If you guys don't know about the cow tongue, you can buy a cow tongue. You can kind of slit it down the middle. You can put your petition, their picture, their personal tag locks and effects in the tongue. Sew it back up, nail it down. I like to nail it down with like some hot peppers. Make their tongue on fire. You can bind it up with string. And then I'll usually work that until the tongue starts stinking. And then I'll take it out in the woods and nail it to a tree and nail that shit down. So that's pretty good stuff for gossip there. Aston McGuire says Catholic Saints ? I'm not sure. Brooke loves St. Anthony. Yes. Now that I don't have a bunk St. Anthony, yeah, he's pretty cool. Carlos says, do you get to work with your previous spirits now that I'm working with saints? Like Papa Legba. Yes, I still work with all the spirits that I used to work with. I have just gained a crap ton more. And I've noticed, well, I'm noticing that they'll become prevalent at different times. Like, Papa will go real quiet. He's been real quiet since I've been initiated. But he'll pop up here or there when something needs to be done, or when something he wants to tell me or something. They're kind of taking turns now for whatever's going on or this and that. Whoever I need to be talking to and working with will come out more strong than the rest of the ones. But yeah, I still have everyone I used to work with and then some. Dynasty, Macarilla, honey jars, good signs. Also, what does it mean when honey jar leaks? Guys, don't get me started on honey jars. Don't get me started on honey jars, please. I want this to be a learning. Maybe Dynasty hasn't seen my previous videos. I don't like honey jars, and I do not consider them hoodoo or any kind of old school root work, for the simple fact that the diaspora traditions originate from slavery, and slaves didn't really have honey, and if they had honey, they was eating it. They wasn't filling up a jar to try and do some work on somebody. I have been putting around for months that a good alternative to honey jars is sugar. Sugar. Just stick the motherfucker in your sugar bowl and pray over it. Also a good trick if you want to sweeten someone, when you get the bags of sugar, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but on the inside of the bag of sugar is brown paper. Y'all just tear the inside lining out your bag of sugar And you got sweetened brown paper to do your petitions on, to sweeten that person up. That's a good trick. Okay, Brooke says reversing all the crap they've done to you, but it's family. Ooh. Oh, family gets tricky. And I'm not denying that family can be some of our worst enemies. They really can be. But it's a fine line with family. It really is, because then, you know, you got to consider your ancestors, and it's generally not good to do work against your family. The best thing you can do is cut them off, really. Just try and cut them off as best as you can. Like, for example, I haven't really spoken to my mother in probably 3 years, because that relationship has never been a very good one. So I just try and avoid them at all costs. I won't do work on family. I really won't. Now, in-laws is a different story. I actually, I have an in-law who I have done work on, and she well deserved it, but I'm not going to talk about that because she might actually be watching this. Carlos would love to try Mama's Tapu Boko. Oh, we'll get you some, Carlos. Okay, Brooke says, awesome, I love it. Ongoing, I have alum and slippery elm bark. Good, that's all you pretty much need. Oh, chia seeds for gossip and shut up work is also good too, because when chia seeds get wet, they get real, like, mushy and slimy and gummy and bleh. You know, it's good for shutting that mouth up too. Honey is sticky. Yes, it is. Yes, we don't like honey. We do not like using honey. Okay, Brooke says, good advice. That's why I stress not so harsh. Yeah, as far as family, Brooke, you can totally do a shut the fuck jar on your family. I would not suggest the tongue work and all that other, but a jar, most definitely. Most definitely, you can do that on family, and it wouldn't be any harm. Okay, Tuka Waka wants to know, do worry dolls or damn it dolls have a place in hoodoo? Or are they more just novelties? Actually, I don't know a whole lot about worry and damn it dolls. I know a little bit. As far as I'm aware, like I said, I don't know much about that subject. They're actually kind of like an Ozark folk magic kind of tradition. The Ozark Mountains in the Midwest and that kind of area. They use those a lot. Actually, my mother-in-law has some when I moved out here to Missouri, and I'm only about an hour away from the Ozarks out here. I've never really heard of them in Rootwork and hoodoo, but I know that the Ozark folk magic tradition uses those a lot. Okay, Carlos says, would you sweeten up anyone really close to you, like your parents? I'm listening right now to the part where you say don't throw work against your family, but the sweetening work wouldn't be cons. Yeah, I wouldn't see any harm with putting your family in a sugar bowl and praying over it. When it comes to family issues, my suggestion would be go to your ancestors. Go to your ancestors and pray to them and ask them to get involved in the familial situation with the people that you're having issues with, and ask them to kind of finesse that situation and smooth it over and let it go better. Okay, am I familiarized with the Sance path, and what do I think? I am not, Carlos. I am not familiar with Sance path at all. That is new to me. Would you like to talk about that a little bit and explain it? I have not heard of that, Sance path. Is it called another name? guess that's the last. I think it's Puerto Rican. Yeah, I'm not. Oh wait, Sans, are you talking about Sansista? Is that what you're talking about, Sans Path? Like a spiritismo? Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. I'm becoming very familiar with it. I'm becoming very familiar with a spiritismo, and it's actually, at first it was against my will, and I'm getting a lot of flack about that from my spirits. They're kind of harping on me to kind of get out of my old thinking and my old ways, and I've been trying to do my very best to go along with this path and where they're leading me without kicking and screaming and fighting the whole way. I'm just trying to keep my nose up and, or my head, you know, my nose down, my head down, and just kind of follow the path and do as I'm told, and try not too much to get my feelings about it. The understanding for me is really a challenge. For example, hold on. You are absolutely someone to look up to. Oh, thank you, Carlos. Okay, for example, I had an issue when I first started the Spiritismo and everything with the image of the crucifix. I had a big issue with it. Crosses, I don't have an issue with because I know the symbolism behind crosses. For example, the cross symbolizes the cross of the zodiac. It can symbolize, you know, the sun, all kinds of, actually, Christ on the cross basically symbolizes the sun, because Jesus was God's son, the sun, S-U-N, not S-O-N. And of course, the sun dies on the cross every night. So, knowing a lot of the things I know and the history of symbolisms that I've studied, I had an issue with the crucifix. And I kind of fought a lot on that. And I was like, why can't I just use a cross? Why has it got to be a crucifix? And let me see if I can talk about this. Okay, so basically what was explained to me about the crucifix and why it was so pertinent in the Spiritismo and the ATR practices is because the people who preserved the practices hidden in this way, basically Christ on the cross represents suffering. Okay, it doesn't even have to represent Christ's suffering. It represents suffering. And the people kind of hid their suffering in that iconography. So I kind of looked at that and thought it was pretty cool. And I was like, wow, because they were doing this right out in plain sight, right under Massa's nose, you know, so it was kind of like a big middle finger. Yeah. And I thought that was really, really cool. And once I, you know, the learning and coming to terms with the iconography is hard sometimes, but once I learn it, I get it, and I use it, and I don't have an issue with it at all. Okay. Hold on. Leslie Brown says, I need to remove some serious funk. Can you talk about egg rolling and baths for a bit? What's most effective? The egg rolling, I think you're talking about Olympia. That's where you take an egg and you kind of go, you know, all over your body with the egg, and then you break it in some water and you try to read it. I am not too versed on this subject. I have not actually done Olympia. I do use eggs in cleansing though. Eggs are great for cleansing. I actually, in the fall, I have a job down here at the haunted house. I'm actually, if you guys don't know it, I design clothing. I have designed clothing for 14 years or something. So I actually work at the haunted house in the fall, and I design and make the costumes for the haunted house. And this haunted house is like nasty. It is, it is horrible, horrible energy in that place. I mean, people literally get sick in there, and it's not from the fear, and it's the energy and the spirits that are trapped in this place are really nasty. So actually what I did all fall, and nobody knew it, was I wore an egg on my head. I would wear, because it was cold, I'd have like a hat on, you know, and I would actually put an egg on the crown of my head every night I went to work in there. And what that does is it would absorb the energy and anything that was trying to kind of jump on me and attach to me. The energy was still nasty and hard to deal with, but the egg helped a lot. And then she also wanted to know about baths. Baths are excellent for removing the funk, and that is my go-to. I think everyone should do a spiritual bath a minimum of once a week. Minimum. I usually do 3 or more a week with what I work with. It's kind of a requirement. For my reading this year for my house, it's actually a requirement that every single one of us does a certain bath every Friday because of the energies that this year brings for our house. So we all have to do this bath every Friday. But baths are excellent, and you can do a bath for anything, and not only does it physically clean you, but you know, you add your herbs and your waters and all your stuff to it, and it's a, you know, an aura kind of cleansing as well, and you get that spiritual gunk off you as well. But that's part of the maintenance, and I actually did a video, or not a video, a post on that earlier today on my Facebook page about spiritual maintenance, and I've done videos on this in the past. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So I suggest everybody who is spiritual, does spiritual work, does spiritual baths a minimum of once a week to get that gunk off of you, because it's much needed. Okay. Dynasty wants to know, what do I think about horseshoes? Horseshoe. Now, you guys know I've been going into my powwow history a lot, and horseshoes are actually really prevalent in powwow. They wouldn't still. I think anything that sticks around sticks around for a reason. So the folklore about horseshoes, I think, is very good. I mean, they're good luck. You're supposed to hang them over your door and all that. And also, I think a lot of it has to do with the iron in the horseshoes, because a lot of spirits don't like iron. That's why cemetery gates, fences around cemeteries are usually made of iron bars and fencing, because spirits don't really like iron, and they don't like to cross iron. So in theory, that kind of keeps the spirits trapped in the cemetery, and they don't go wandering all over the place. I mean, in theory, there are a lot of spirits that don't like iron. I actually, on my website, I make iron nail coffin crosses, and I actually hang them all over. I hang them above my windows, I hang them above my doors, because a lot of spirits are repulsed by iron, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% foolproof. Some of them don't give a fuck, and they'll just they'll just go right through that shit. But a lot of them don't like iron. So horseshoes, yeah, I think there's a lot to that. Brooke wants to know what brought me to the path I'm on now, and where did I get my start? Oh, wow, that's an interesting question. What actually, and this, I've done videos on how turn your curses into blessings, and how you can look back on things and think, oh, that was a terrible thing and a terrible time, but in actuality, it was a blessing. What brought me to this path was actually, I had some fucking shit put on me. I had some fucking shit put on me that I fought for over a year, and I could not get it off. And it literally almost killed me. I was on my deathbed. I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk. Tons of tests and doctors, and nobody could find anything wrong except some vitamin deficiencies and celiac disease. And if you, I don't know, the spirit, the kind of spirit that I had put on me, that's pretty much what they do. They suck your life and give you vitamin deficiencies and all this shit. So seeking the help for that condition is what brought me to my current path, because when I met the practitioner that could help me and I seen what they were capable of doing and how they could fight something like this off. I mean, it was literally death. It was literally looking death in the fucking face. And when I seen that and seen what they could do, I wanted to be able to help people in that same way. And I was actually told that I needed to help people in the same way. But I searched for years for a path. I did. I really did. And I kept getting told, you know, like I had to pick a path. And if I didn't pick a path, I was just going to kind of sit in one spot, not grow, kind of just spin my wheels and, you know, not progress if I didn't pick a path. And I'd searched for years for a path, and I didn't like any of them. They all had things I didn't like. But when I first started this path, it didn't have anything I didn't like. I'm like, oh, this is the perfect, you know, I love this. I love everything about it. And then, bam, my house melded with other house and another lineage, and now I have saints and the spiritismo and stuff that I didn't like about some of the other paths. And now I kind of am realizing that that is part of my path. For some reason, I can't get away from it. It keeps getting thrown on me, so I gotta do it. I gotta do it. There's a reason I gotta do it. I'm not quite sure what the reason is yet, but I will find out the reason. Eventually, I'm well aware, well, believing in that. Let me say that. Okay, Carlos wants to know the cross means the cross. The cross can mean the crossroads. Yes, it can. The cross can symbolize a lot of things, but when it comes to the iconography of Christianity, the cross represents the cross of the zodiac, okay? And the sun is in the center. That's why on a lot of these churches you'll see a cross with a circle right in the center of the cross. That's the sun on the cross of the zodiac, which is supposed to represent the Son of God, Jesus Christ. But, you know, I have done a lot of study on symbology and religious symbology at that. And, yeah, so knowing these things that I came into this with this previous knowledge, it's been hard for me. But once I see the reason for it, hey, I'm going along with it. I can see why it's done the way it's done. What's the name of my doggy? His name is Gandalf the White. I am a big Tolkien fan. I love Tolkien. Grew up on him. He's great. Yeah, that's Gandalf the White, and when he gets dirty, he's Gandalf the Gray. But it's fitting because he is my he is my protector. Would cascarilla work instead of egg on the head? Yes. Yes, it does. I put cascarilla on my head all the time, and it actually helps my dreads dread. It does. It's like a dry shampoo when I put it on there. Like, it helps my dreads knot up so much better when I put cascarilla on my head. But yes, cascarilla is egg. But for the particular energies I was dealing with when I was talking at the haunted house, the egg worked better because the egg itself symbolizes life and death. It's both in one little object curio there, and they work really good for those types of situations. But cascarilla, definitely. I use the hell out of cascarilla for all kinds of stuff. What do I think about mojo bags? I love mojo bags. I'll actually be selling them soon. But they're not gonna be, you know, mojo bags, gree are very similar. The difference I know of is gree is pretty much, it's a sealed spell with a spirit in it. You don't open a gree. You breathe life into it, you put that spirit into it, you seal it up and trap it in there, and it does its job. But you have to feed it. But you have to do the same with a mojo too. But mojos typically you can open them. They're usually like a drawstring kind of bag, and you can open them to refresh the ingredients, to put new things in, take things out. But again, they still, you still breathe life into them. You still have a spirit in the mojo. But they're kind of along the same lines. They're not the same thing, but they're very similar. I'm actually going to be offering those on my store very soon, but they're not going to be... They're hard to offer, which is why I haven't put them up yet. Because it's not a one-size-fits-all. Like, I guess something maybe for luck or money could kind of be a one-size-fits-all. But let's say somebody wants a mojo or a griri for protection. It depends on what, they want protection from is what's going to go into that. So a lot of these things are going to be, made per client, per their situation, which makes it hard to, just kind of put it up on a website and be like, hey, because if it's a per client kind of thing, they're kind of a one of a kind, have to be made specific for the purpose. So, but I'm working on that. So hopefully they're going to be available real soon on the website. Tuka Waka wants to know, do I have recommendations for protections during sex? I have had spirits come through my partner through sex to the point of not seeing the partner and just spirit. It has funded up. Sex in itself is a spirit exchange. If you're gonna have sex with somebody, you better believe you're gonna take on some of their spirits. And vice versa. Sex is extremely powerful, and the energy of it will just bring everybody in, Everybody wants that kind of energy. Protecting yourself during sex, other than... See, I haven't really worried too much about this issue in a long time because I've been married for, almost 20 years. But you can always wear like an amulet to try and stave off some of that energy. Maybe put some Florida water on yourself or some cascarilla, just kind of, rub it on your shoulders and your head and your back of your neck before the act. That can kind of reflect some of those spirits, but it's not going to be foolproof. Nothing's foolproof, guys. Okay. Sorcery Vault. Hi, Sorcery Vault. Clarity Star wants to know, I wonder what is going on with me keep breaking things and losing things that are important to me, and I'm trying to change my life around, so I feel like it's a spirit messing with me. Well, it definitely can be. If you're having constant mishaps, like I had a constant mishap last week. Like I had a bolt in the tire and just was losing stuff like crazy, and mishap after mishap after mishap. That's usually work or a spirit. Do a bath, uncrossing, cleansing bath, and then camphor your house with camphor. Smoke the shit out, and see if that helps. Talk to your ancestors about it, and see if they can kind of shove some of that juju off of you. But yeah, do a bath, uncrossing, cleansing bath. You could also do a work to go along with, like a candle work for uncrossing, or cleansing, removing negativity, that kind of thing, and camphor. Burn camphor in your house. Okay, Brooke wants to know how I feel about Harry Hyatt's info. It's the, I know what books you're talking about. The name just went somewhere. It's the Conjuration, what the fuck's the name of the damn book? It's a 5-book series. I don't remember, but I know the books you're speaking of. Harry Hyatt, well, I think a lot of the information is good, but I also think there's a lot of stuff missing because for the sole fact that he was a white man trying to get these secrets from the African American melanated people, and they weren't telling him everything. It's for him to write down in his book all their tricks and secrets. But if you can kind of read between the lines of it, it's a good source. It really is, especially for the old-timey tricks. A lot of that shit works. A lot of it's still relevant today. But a lot of it in some places is missing some key elements too, because they ain't gonna give him. Nobody gives out all their tricks. Nobody does that. So take any book or writing with a grain of salt. Always. Okay, Carlos wants to know, would I make a hot foot powder without sulfur? I was fighting with someone in one of the groups regarding this subject. I would never make hot foot powder without sulfur. I've done videos on this. Sulfur is a must ingredient in hot foot powder. It is. You have to have it. I would never do hot foot without sulfur. No. Okay, now the spring is almost upon us. Can we get a picture of your absolutely marvelous witch's garden? My other phone's ringing. 1 second, guys. Hello? I think I hung it up. My husband left his phone here. That was his phone. Okay, hold on, guys. Can we get an absolutely marvelous picture of the witch's garden? Yes. I actually just started the cleanup last week. It's starting to get warm enough. I've been burning a lot of rubbish and yard weeds and all that kind of stuff. The greenhouse actually got shredded over the winter, so I had to buy a new top for it, and it's actually laying right down here. I just got to put it on. I'm waiting for my seeds to arrive. They are ordered. They are on their way, and I'll probably wind up documenting the garden again this year. Sorry guys, my husband's mother is in the hospital, so I'm just trying to make sure this isn't...
Hi, it's Carol.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure it's not the hospital calling him, because he forgot his phone when he left. Okay. Spirit of the Witch says, hey girl, I love your bids. I think you mean bids. My bids and energy. I know you're into Santeria. Are you in Palo yet too? I'm actually not going to talk about my path, guys. I'm not going to talk about that. Sorry. I'm not. I will come out one day. I will tell everybody exactly what I'm doing, but I'm not ready to do that yet because there's a lot of shit flying around and I have an ace. So we're not going to talk about the specific path. What do I think about pendulums, Dynasty? Yes, I love pendulums. I use a pendulum all the time with my ancestors. I have one I made specifically for them. I consecrated it to them, and that's how I communicate specifically with these ancestors over here. I make pendulum boards. I wood burn them, and there are a few available on my website. I love pendulums. Let me show you guys a good trick, actually, with the pendulum. These are the boards I make. I don't know if you guys can, but I wood burn them, and then I stain them and stuff. But a good trick with a pendulum, okay, because you don't want your movement affecting it. So when I use a pendulum, and I'm also big into rods too, the divining rods. I love those as well. But when you're using a pendulum, a little trick, because you don't want your movement affecting the pendulum, what I like to do is I set my board down on a table, I put my arms on a table, and I clasp my hands together as tight as I can, and I kind of rest my head on it, and I keep my hands and my arms totally still, so I know for a fact, you know, and by doing this, by clasping your hands and resting your head, you're keeping your, you know, you're not shaking at all, you're really steady and really firm, so you know that your movements are not what's affecting this pendulum. So that's the way I like to use a pendulum. So I know that my movements aren't doing it, and it's the spirits. But when they get on there, you can feel it. You can feel them pushing it anyway. So it's not really too much to worry about. And my husband's coming in. I'm doing a live video, honey. Okay, so Brooke wants to know, that question about leads me to my own question. I've had many episodes of what docs call sleep paralysis. Basically, it starts with insane electrical shock and a shadow man. You know what? I had my own kind of sleep paralysis issue once. It happened to me one time, and I know there's people that suffer with this constantly, and I personally believe from what I experienced that it's definitely spiritual. I don't think something's physically wrong with you. I don't think you're dreaming, because I experienced it. So I was fully freaking aware, man. I was like awake, but I wasn't. But I was awake. I had my eyes open. I was fully aware, and I could not fucking move. I could not move. I was like, I felt like I was in Kill Bill when she's in the back of the truck and she's going there, wiggle your big toe. Wiggle your big toe. That was me. I was laying there trying to make myself move, and I could not fucking do it. And I was actually attacked. I don't want to say too much about this because I don't want to give too much away, because I know who did it. But I was actually being attacked. It was an attack. And I learned then that you have to learn to protect yourself in the spirit plane. I'm training myself, and I'm nowhere near an expert, guys, but I'm training myself to try and lucid dream. I'm trying to train myself how to get on the spirit plane and how to get myself off, because I don't ever want to experience that again. But I have taken precautions which have stopped it from happening. Like, I put a lot of protections in my bedroom. I have a shelf right above my head where I sleep. I have a lot of protections up there that if something comes at me, I can kind of, grab, whatever I need. I actually have knives up there as well for protection. I have them sticking out above my head to kind of stop any of that kind of stuff. Sleep. That is some scary shit, girl. That is some scary ass shit. Yeah. Sulfur, yes, but why are they saying no? Because they're retards. Because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's why. Are shadow figures evil in your opinion? I have dealt with shadow people. I've dealt with shadow people all my life, and the ones that I've dealt with that are negative, I wouldn't call them shadow people. I would call them mortal. I lived in an apartment once, and there was actually a shadow man. They call him the Hat Man. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Hat Man. And he lived in my hallway. He was there all the damn time, just hanging out in my hallway. I'd always see him, but he never did anything to me. He would never enter any of the other rooms. Like, my bedroom was at the end of the hall. He'd never come in there. He just kind of hung out in the hallway, and I'd see him all the time, but he never did anything negative. The ones that I've dealt with that are negative, like I say, they kind of resemble shadow people, but they're not. They're morto. They're the dead, or reapers, as some people call them. And you can tell the difference between them, because while shadow people, you look like a person, okay? You can see a form of a head and arms and legs, and like the Hat Man, you can see a hat shadow on his head. Morto kind of look like they're wearing black shrouds. They look like a shadow person in a shroud, basically. And those you gotta watch out for. Some of them are all right, but I've had some nasty ones come around. Okay, Clarity wants to know. It started happening when my ex and I stopped talking. I did a return to sender, and Olympia went on for months. I am hoping it's settling down now. My ex doesn't practice, but he knows I do. Well, that wouldn't stop him from going to somebody else that does practice. It really wouldn't. He could have got somebody else to do that work if he doesn't do it himself. Okay, I'm trying to catch up, guys. We're going on an hour here, wow. But we got a lot of people in here, so we'll keep it going for a while. Carlos wants to know, would I recommend to communicate with your ancestors or work with them without an altar? You can. Everybody can work with their ancestors, and you don't have to have an altar. But I do think you need a space for them, where you would place a candle and like a glass of water. That's the minimum of what you need to work with your ancestors. You need a candle and a glass of water. So you can have a little tiny table behind your door. You can put it on the floor in the corner or something, just so they just have like a little, a little space that's kind of theirs and it's kind of sacred, and that's where you go to talk to them. But you don't have to have an altar to your ancestors per se. Okay, the episodes were insane, and there's the shadow guy. This thing has had sexual contact with me. I've learned to exert some control during these episodes too. Yeah, it's absolutely about control. You absolutely have to be able to take control in those situations. And I'll tell you honestly, the only thing that saved me when I was in that paralysis was my husband rolled over in his sleep and kind of put his arm around me, and the sensation of his touch like kind of snapped me out of it, and I was like, I was able to jerk myself up and move again. And to this day, I don't know what would have happened if he wouldn't have rolled over and put his arm around me at that minute, because like I said, I was being attacked, and it was a pretty severe attack. That one, it takes a lot to scare me, like a lot. But that one will definitely stay in the memory bank for a long time. That freaked me out. Okay, Clarity says, what if you don't know... Oh, wait a minute. I'm way down here. Hold on, guys. I gotta scroll back. Have I ever used a wand? And what are they used for? No. I have never used a wand. I fiddled around with the idea of making a wand, and if I made one, I would make it out of Hollywood, because that's traditionally what wands were made of. But no, I've never used one. But basically, I've never had the need for one, and the use for them, as far as I know, is to focus the energy and the intent of what you're trying to do. But no, I've never used one. I actually gathered some holly wood when I went to Pennsylvania to visit my grandfather, because he has holly trees on his property. I still have them here. I never got around to making the wand because I'm on my path. I don't need it. Some people like that tool to be able to focus the energy and the intent. You can do the same with an athame, which is a ceremonial dagger or a knife. You can do the same thing with that. You know how they call, as below, and you stick the knife in the ground. That's basically the same purpose as a wand, and it serves the same, kind of deal there. Okay, Clarity says, what if you don't know your ancestors? You don't have to know them. You absolutely... Yeah, you left your phone. Oh, Carol called. Well, okay. I tried to answer it because I thought it might have been the hospital. Holy shit. Lost it. What if you don't know your ancestors? Okay. You don't have to know your ancestors, Clarity. You absolutely do not have to know them. All you have to do is speak to them, because you are your ancestors. You are them. They are you. They are in every cell in your body. They are in your DNA. They are in your memory. They are you. You are you. They are you. You are them. You don't have to know them. All you have to do is elevate them and speak to them, and they will guide you. Okay, Carlos says, I'm crafting an ancestor staff like the one you taught us how to make. If I may, I'm going to send you a picture when it... Yeah, by all means, send me a picture of it. You're the one that makes all those memes off my videos. I know who you are. Dynasty says, what do you think about tarot readings? When to tell when you have a false reading? I've never really been into card reading, honestly. I dabbled with tarot when I was in my teens, and it actually worked pretty good for me. But it was never my deal. I never got into tarot. I use a lot of other different types of divination other than card readings. But as far as how to tell if your divination is false, it depends on the system that you're using. Like, let's take example the pendulum that I was showing you guys. I know the way my ancestors use that pendulum. It only goes certain ways and with a certain strength. And if it deviates from that pattern, I know it's not them. I also have tests that I run on my tools when I think it might be a rogue spirit trying to come through and not who I'm trying to talk to. Like example, I know the name of my main ancestor. I will ask the board false names. Okay, I will throw out false names and I will say, is this your name? Is that your name? Is this your name? And see if they hit, on a wrong answer, see if they hit on the right answer, and that's a good way to tell if you're talking to who you think you're talking to, or if you're talking to, some rogue random kind of, because my board has been hijacked, it has. When I get stuff thrown at me, when people send shit at me, and just shit follows me home from places, I get rogue random spirits around, and they have hijacked my divination tools, they have. But you can always kind of know and sense that it's not right. This is somebody you don't know. Or it's somebody different from who you're trying to talk to. But always try to have tests. Like, sit down and write out some test questions that only you and the spirit that you're speaking to would know. And then, throw those out and you'll see if you can get some false answers or the right answers. Okay, Tuka Waka wants to know, I had a worker come through when I was sleeping. They were poking me and woke me with pain where he was poking me. I told him to stop and he did. Would you consider this attack or something else? If he stopped when you told him to stop, I wouldn't consider that very much of an attack. Some people don't have total control over the spiritscape, where you astral travel and where you go in your dreams on the spirit plane and all that. And if you don't have total control over it, you can visit random people, you can do random things because you think it's a dream. Yeah, but if he stopped when you told him to stop, I wouldn't think that was an attack, no. Okay, what about the reading you had with Jasmina? Does she use the tarot, or what type of divination she works with? Jasmina Radovich, Ancestral Witch. Yes, she does not use tarot, as far as I'm aware. She does ancestral investigations, which, from what I'm aware, she does with cowrie shells. And then she also she is initiated in Palo. So she also would do the Shamalongo readings. I did not have an ancestral investigation with her, I had one done with somebody else, so I assume that when she did my reading, she did it with Shamalongos. Okay, Kiana says, I thought about communicating with ancestors, but I always get paranoid about running into bad spirits. There's bad spirits everywhere, but you can't let the fear of a bad spirit stop you from communicating with your court and your ancestors. There's always going to be bad spirits. They're everywhere. But as my experience, the good ones far outweigh the bad. And if you're specifically elevating and communicating with your ancestors, I don't think you have much to fear. I really don't, because they should protect you. Okay, my fear with pendulums. I wondered how you are speaking to who you want to. Yeah, to make tests, Rebecca. Even sit down with a piece of paper, and the person that you want to communicate with, only things that they would know. Okay, like I said, my ancestors, I know a lot about them. So I have tests. So if I think it's a rogue, I run the test, and I see what answers I come out with. But once you start doing it and you get the feel for your spirits in your court, you kind of sense and you kind of know, in your gut, that's your first red flag system. Okay, if it feels in your gut that it's not right, it's probably not right. Go with that. Listen to it. What would you rather, the Dilagoon, cowrie shells, or runes? I actually use runes. I use runes a lot. Dilagoon, cowrie shells. There's different divinations with cowrie shells now. It's not all cowrie shell divination is Dilagoon. It's not. There are different types of divination with cowrie shells, and actually one of the systems that I'm being trained in is with cowrie shells, but it's not Dilagoon. How long does it take a person have to be dead before you can communicate with them? One of my best friends committed suicide almost 3 weeks ago. Oh, that's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that, Rebecca. General speaking, okay, when the dead die, okay, they go into a transition phase, okay, and at this point in time, it is best not to communicate with them. It is best to give them a light, to light their way and their path and give them light in the darkness. But to communicate with them, typically it's a year and a day. It takes that long for a spirit to become accustomed and assimilate to being dead and that realm. So the minimum is usually a year and a day before you would want to attempt contact with someone who has passed away. But you can offer them prayers, and you can offer them light in their darkness to help them pass and do that transition smoothly to their ancestors. You can offer them prayers that they find their home with their ancestors. What type of divination are you learning along with your new path? I'm actually, I can't talk about it, but I'm learning 2 divination systems, actually. The one, I'm coming up on a year, guys, in May will be my 1-year anniversary to getting initiated. So the one system I was given right away. So I'm almost a year into that system, and I still haven't got it down. Because I was only given a part of it at first, and then I was given the other part right around the Christmas time, like that area. So I've only had that piece for like 3 months. So I'm kind of trying, to work the what I did know into with this part. And I actually, what I wanted to do tonight, honestly, was I wanted to practice because I need to practice. I'm good at the reading, I'm good at it. I know what I'm doing pretty much, but I need to practice reading for other people. So what I wanted to do tonight, my original plan, was to let everybody come on and ask one question, and I would do divination for it. But as we see, that's not happening. Spirit said no, no, no. I asked them if I could come on and do a live video and give help people and answer questions and give advice and help people on their way. And that was a thumbs up. I was allowed to do that. And then I asked if I was allowed to practice my divination with a simple one question for each person, and they were like, nah, we ain't doing that yet. So yeah, that's how that goes. But yeah, I'm actually learning two systems. The other system I just received maybe a month or two ago. So that one, yeah, we're still really learning that one. Okay, Dynasty is having a dream in church and woke up feeling like someone's sitting on me. Woke up and could not breathe. Having a dream in a church. That doesn't sound like a spirit to me, Dynasty. That might actually be your own. Do you have a problem with the church? Have you had bad experiences, or do you have a disdain for the church or Christianity? That could be like your own kind of subconscious kind of deal there if you have an issue with the church. Whenever I work with a spirit of the cemetery, which one do I work with? So, Carlos, you asking these questions I can't answer, man. If I tell the people the spirit I work with, then they're gonna know what path I'm walking. I can't say that, but I do work with a lot of spirits in the cemetery. But you can work with any of the spirits in the cemetery, any of the dead that are in there. I go with my divination tool that I want to take, and I'll find who wants to fucking talk to me and who wants to do some work with me. As simple as that. I have a cemetery down here that I frequent a lot, and it's an old 1800s Civil War cemetery, and it's very old, it's very decrepit, and very neglected. Like, a lot of the stones are missing, like they're broke off, and you don't even know who that person is. So they like me. They like me a lot over there because I pay attention to them. Nobody, they've been dead so long that they don't really have family. They don't have visitors. They don't have people that care for them and bring them, flowers or, any of that kind of stuff. So they like me a lot at that cemetery because I pay attention to them. So I can always find someone that wants to do some work with me over there. Have I ever been ridden by a spirit? Yes, I have. Yes, I have, and it's not pleasant. I do not like it. I've been jumped on many, 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 many times in this last year, and it's not pleasant. And my first reaction is get it off. And it took me, see, when you initiate into an ATR system, it is literally trial by fire. It is literally learn by experience. Okay, because you can't describe something to somebody. You can't say, oh, this is the sensation and this is what this is and this is. You have to experience it to know what it feels like and what it is. So, like, the first time I got jumped on was extremely fucking unpleasant. And I was really scared and I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what to do. I was, like, freaking out. thankfully I had, I have godparents, to like help me out and walk me through this stuff. But now when it happens, when I feel that, I immediately know what it is. I know what it is because I've experienced it, and I know pretty much how to get it off and how to take care of it. It doesn't always work. Sometimes I gotta try something different, you know. But yeah, you definitely gotta learn by experience. I don't know if you answered this, but or not. But have you always been into hoodoo, or was it a transition thing? Sorry, I'm late to the chat. No, Kiana. Um, I wouldn't. I wouldn't call it tradition. I was raised in hoodoo. I would call it powwow or folk magic, but a lot of the practices overlap in the folk magic traditions, and hoodoo is a folk magic tradition. Um, a lot of the practices overlap. They're very, very similar. So I wouldn't technically say I've always been a hoodoo practitioner, but anybody that's seen any of my previous videos know that I was born this way. I did my first work at the age of 9. I didn't even know what the fuck I was doing or how I knew to do what I did or anything. I was born with this knowledge. I was born knowing how to do shit and not knowing how I know these things. But I wouldn't necessarily have called it hoodoo. No. I actually don't even consider myself strictly a hoodoo practitioner now. What I practice is folk magic. It's folk magic. I'm really getting into my powwow roots and trying to work that into my practices more. But yeah, hoodoo is a hype label for a lot of people. They tag it, they hashtag it, and stuff like that. I know a lot about hoodoo. I know a lot about hoodoo, and I have a hoodoo mentor that teaches me a lot about the hoodoo specific practice. But yeah, like I said, it overlaps with a lot of other folk magic practices. You've seen how to collect graveyard dirt, and that is lovely. Okay, everything about talking and working with old neglected spirits. Ashe. Us and Them says, been watching your vids for a while. Hope there's more to come. I love watching and learning from it. Well, thank you, Us and Them. I'm scrolling back to see if I missed any questions, and I see the viewers are starting to drop off a little bit. We're almost at an hour and a half, so you guys are probably getting sick of hearing me talk. Using pictures in your working. Good points, also bad points, and how to use it in work. I use pictures a lot, and I think a lot of workers, I think people always use pictures, even in like Hyatt's books. Pictures were used a lot, in all kinds of conjure. Necessarily bad points about pictures, I don't really see any bad points other than with your ancestors. If you're placing pictures on your ancestor altar, you want to make sure that there's no living people in the pictures. You only want pictures of the dead with your ancestors, simply because if you, like, I have a family photo over here that has like all my family in it, and almost all of them are dead, but 1 or 2 are still living. So I don't put that one on my altar, even though almost all of them are in there. Simply because when you place a picture of a living person amongst the dead, you've basically given them a death sentence. They're gonna die because you already put them there. You already put them with the dead. You already put them with the ancestors. So that kind of puts out the intent, and it's really like a taboo. You don't put living people with the dead. You don't do that because you basically give them a death sentence. Carlos says, you a root worker? Yes, I am. I worked at Root. Is there anything you wish you knew when you started that would help newbies? Yeah, I think I wish I had known to take published works with a grain of salt. Not everything printed is true. Not everything printed is real. Just like the shit you see on movies and TV, it ain't fucking real. It could be based on a true story. But a lot of it's fictionalized, a lot of it's made up, a lot of it ain't real, and a lot of pieces are missing. And I wish I knew that when I first started. Like I said, I was born with a lot of knowledge on how to do shit. But when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time in the library reading everything I could. You know, I was fascinated with folklore, especially like Greek and Roman mythology with, I guess they're called Titans, and like the Medusa and the Minotaur and the Rock, which was the big bird. And Loch Ness Monster and like mermaids and unicorns. Like I was fascinated with all the folklore. And so I read a lot about that. I read a lot about witchcraft that I could find. Of course, when I was growing up, you go to the school library or the public library, you didn't find too much on it. Walden Books was like my best friend. And I think when I started buying books on the subject, because I already knew how to do a lot, but you always want to learn more, there wasn't a whole lot of witchcraft books being published at that time, and a lot of the stuff coming out was, bullshit. And I wish I would have knew that when I was new. Take everything you read and everything online with a grain of salt, always. Okay, I wish I grew into that. It sounds interesting, although I'm still figuring out my path. Don't rush it, Kiana. It'll find you. Your path that you need will find you. Pray to your ancestors. Ask them to guide you. Ask them to bring you the right mentor and the right teacher, and they'll lead you where you need to be. Have I written any books or thought about writing a book on folk medicine? No. I have not written any books. I have not thought about writing a book. There's plenty of books out there. I help people with my videos. It's kind of like a little bit of a virtual mentorship. I help people with work. I will help people with ceremony and readings eventually. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and at this point in time, I don't foresee writing a book in the future. No, there's already plenty out there. Whenever a work is made, let's say a candle, a jar, or cleansing, do we need to babysit it? I've learned that you do that a lot from your vids. I babysit my work that has candles on it because I have lots of cats. And they like to knock shit over and get up on all my tables and, all that. So I never walk away and leave something lit and going. I always stay up no matter how long it takes and wait till that shit's done, for the simple fact I don't want my house to burn down. But if you don't have any animals, I know a lot of people, go to bed, they leave their candles burning as long as it's safe. Like, they'll get a coffee tin, like a metal coffee tin, and they'll put the candle in that and maybe put some water, around the candle inside the tin, just so it's safe. So if the candle explodes or, something happens while you're not around, it is, contained safely. I would never recommend walking away and leaving a candle burning. It's just the way I was raised. Why take a chance? It's a fire hazard. You don't want to burn your house down. I mean, seriously. I babysit my candles, yeah. The line for purchasing Mama's book starts here. Oh, my battery's dying, guys. My battery's dying. I'm gonna have to close this down soon. Doing a cleansing, should it be done before going to sleep? I do it when it needs to be done. Sometimes I'll get whacked with some shit and I'll be in the middle of doing something. I gotta jump up and I gotta go take a bath, like, right that minute. As far as in general, like, if you ain't got something, like, aware that you have something on you, like, nothing's causing you grief, or, you know, if you're just doing a weekly maintenance kind of bath, you can do it. You can do it at any time. If you do it before you go to bed, depending on what type of bath it was, but let's say it's for cleansing and uncrossing or something like that. If you do it before you go to bed, you want to go to sleep in white pajamas or whatever, t-shirt, whatever you're wearing to bed, as long as it's white. And you'd also kind of want to try to sleep in white sheets, if you have white sheets. I keep a stock of them because I'm always got to do stuff. Do you like people already? I mean, after being initiated, do I like people already? Oh, no. I don't like a lot of people, but as I minister to you, I'm ministering to myself, guys. I am learning, because in order to help people, you cannot judge them. And I'm trying really, really hard to learn this lesson and to not judge people, because how can you help them if you're judging them out the gate? And I've done videos on being a judge, and we all do it, even if we don't mean to do it. We all do it. But when people are coming to you for help, you can't be a judge. You can't judge them. So, but the people in the groups, and, you know, I've never liked people. I don't. But I don't have to like you to help you. I just got to do my job, you know. I am not a people person. I'm actually pretty much a recluse. I don't leave my house very much. I have maybe 4 friends. Like, I don't keep with people a lot. It takes a lot for me to get close and be friends with somebody. A lot of acquaintances, yeah, I have a lot of those. I'm actually learning a lot about family being initiated, because your house is your spiritual family, you know, and we all are there for each other. We all, you know, got each other's backs, and, you know, it really is a family, and it's really a beautiful thing. Like, I know if I got a problem, I can go to my spiritual family, my house, and be like, hey, I got a problem, and everyone they'll be on it. You know, they got my back, and I got their back. You know, when they got a problem, it's a beautiful thing. And I've been so generous with you. Oh, yeah, no problem, guys. Would you take godsons or goddaughters to be under your wing, learning your wisdom and path? Yes, but I don't get to pick who that would be. Any godchildren that I will be taking on will come through my house, and they will be assigned to me from my godparents. It's usually done through ceremony, like whoever is at your initiation kind of becomes your godparent. So I have not taken part in somebody else's initiation yet to get any godchildren, but I'm not at that point. I actually have a title now where I could be a godparent, but I can't just take on, you know, godchildren. They have to come through my house, and I kind of have to be at their ceremony, and, you know, that kind of deal. So, yeah. understand where you are coming from. I'm judgmental as hell. Yeah, it's hard. I really want to publicly thank you for showing me the real enemy. My real target is my ego. Yes. That is a big, big, big problem in the community. My godparent actually just left social media. Like, he's out. He closed down his Facebook. He closed down his Messenger. The only way to get a hold of him is, you got his number. That's the only way you're getting a hold of him. He totally left social media because he's sick of all the bullshit, all the drama, all the ego, all the crap that is on social media. You know, he's totally out. He left about 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, guys. I'm going to try. I don't know. My phone, I plugged it in, but it might start overheating. Trying to see if it's getting hot. Okay, guys. Any other questions? Judgment versus discernment. That's a good question. Let me think about this 1 second. I think discernment goes more with your heart and your gut. My husband is notorious for the saying, think with your heart and not your head. He's always said that from the day I met him. And I think that's where discernment comes in. Discernment comes from your heart, from your gut. Like, you know, I have people messaging me all the time for help and wanting work and, you know, all kinds of stuff. And I have the communication with spirit, and I have the feeling, you know, in your gut, in your heart, whether this person is, like, I get a lot of frauds, you know, coming in, you know, they're going to worker to worker to worker to worker, or, you know, they're paying people for work, and then, you know, they'll come out and get the work, and then they'll get a refund after you did the work. You know, they're scamming people, and that's discernment. Judgment is when you put yourself above others. Judgment is when you think you're better than somebody else, and you're going to judge them and their path thinking you're better. That's a judgment. And I'm learning a lot to try and not do that, because you can't help people that way. I also only take people that come to me for help that really fucking need help. Like, life and death situations. Very desperate people that have nowhere else to go. And when these people come to me, I know that they came to me for a reason, and I know they came because I am the only one who can help this person. That kind of deal. Are you working right now or babysitting something? Why is your head covered? I am working right now. I'm not actually working for something I need a head covering. I'm actually doing work on my business right now. And I did a little post on my page earlier today about maintenance. And I'm learning quickly because I've never had a business, you know. I've never put my services out there to people or sold products or anything like that. So I'm learning quickly that, you know, people see you as competition right away and they start flinging shit at you. So your business needs to be cleansed and protected, just like yourself needs to be cleansed and protected. People, you know, evil eye and jealousy is a very real, you know, it's a very real thing. And I'm learning, you got to keep your business protected and clean as well. So that's actually the work I'm doing right now. My head is covered and I'm in white because I was downstairs. I was downstairs and I came upstairs to do the video and I didn't change. So that's why my head's covered and I'm in white. Money spells. I'm not going to give out specific spells, guys. I'm not going to do that. I did a video, Dynasty, on a simple money drawing lamp that you can do. If you go back and look at my previous videos, there's a video on there for that. I'm actually doing a money work right now for the business. I call it, it's actually a work I will be offering eventually in my store. It's a 7-day candle work, and I call it Big Bucks Benjamin. I sell a lot of products for money spells. I sell money rice, money drawing powder. I sell my cold cash oil, which is a money oil, and all these things you can use to do money spells. Which, I mean, I don't know what you mean by money spells. You could do something as simple as a candle, you know, a green candle, dress it in some oil, put some money rice on it, and you got a money spell. When are we finding out the winners of your amazing versing? I released the winners. I announced the winners on the 5th. It's on the original post that I posted for the contest. I announced the winners on there. I don't remember their names, but I know the one girl already did receive her. I already shipped them out. The one winner already did receive her oil. I haven't heard back from the other one. I don't even know if I'll hear back from her. She probably just wanted some free stuff. Who knows? People love free stuff. Okay, guys, I'm still getting the low battery alert, and it is dropping even with it plugged in. I am at 9%. So, any other questions, real quick, and I'm gonna get off of here. My green rice is one of your faves. Well, how do you know? You haven't bought anybody. Go buy some and tell me it's your fave. Oh, are you talking about the video on the green money rice? Yeah, I actually did a video on how to make that, if that's what you're talking about. I'm going to my first Reiki class tomorrow. Could that be incorporated in spells to help others? I'm trying to raise awareness of Reiki and plan to do healing. I actually don't know anything about Reiki other than, I think it has to do with, like, crystal stones and chakras or something, and I know it's for healing. Jasmina Radovich, Ancestral Witch, she's actually initiated in Reiki. I think she's like level 2, and she could have went to be master or something, but she didn't bother with it because she walked a different path after that. So you might actually contact her about the Reiki, because I don't know much about that. Can healing and good intentions harm? Yes, it can. Actually, Yasmina Radovich, Ancestral Witch, did a video on that maybe like 2 weeks ago. Yes, healing and good intentions can harm. I don't know if other people experience the same things I experience as a healer. But when I became initiated, I had some blocks and some gifts, but I also received new gifts, and I know the blocks on the other ones will go away eventually. I know why they're placed there. They're placed there, so I'll focus on other things. But one of the gifts I received was actually some empathy, and I didn't even know what the hell was going on. But it apparently, I received the gift of empathy, which I absolutely did not fucking want. So, usually, now this is me personally, I don't know if other people experience the same things, but my experience, especially now with the empathy kind of thing coming on, is when you heal somebody in that kind of way, you kind of can take on their ailments. You can feel them. You can take them on. And any work, even if it's for a good thing, okay, even if you want to heal somebody and you want to help them heal a situation or, you know, that kind of deal, if you don't have their permission, if they don't know that you're doing that, and have their permission, maybe they don't want it. Maybe they're not ready for it. Maybe they like, you know, holding on to those kind of emotions, that energy in that situation. You don't know. So it can harm. It can harm. Any kind of work you're doing on people, if it's not hexery, if you're not trying to fuck somebody up, you should have their permission before you try and do work for somebody else. They should be aware of it. They should be like, yeah, I'm cool with it. If you don't have their permission and they're not cool with it, you shouldn't do it. You really shouldn't. Just joined. I know you are about to get off, but I'm here and caught some of it. Okay, Roots and Conjure. Hey, you almost have my name. Don't put primitive in front of that. I'm going to do a money drawing spell for I need money to shop your store. My stuff's not expensive though. I'm actually really cheap. I think I'm too cheap, you know, but I'm actually really cheap for the work and the materials and the time I put into everything, and comparative shopping other people's you know, products and stuff. I'm actually really cheap. I think I'm underselling myself, but I might raise the prices some days, guys. You know, I'm getting started. I'm just jumping off, you know, so I don't want to come out the gate with too high of prices or what I feel that my work and my products are actually worth. I want to make them affordable to everybody. I want everybody to be able to get these products to help, you know, help their situation. Because honestly, the only reason I started the business and, you know, Spirit said do this was because I got a lot of spirits now, guys. I got a lot. Like a lot. A lot of candles, a lot of cigars, a lot of rum, a lot of food, a lot of offerings, a lot of incense, a lot of everything that's coming out of my pocket to support all my spirits, you know, and pay them for what they're doing. So I made a deal with my spirits that I would open the shop, but a minimum of 85% of what I make in the shop goes to them. Okay, I opened the shop to support my spirits, so it's not coming out of my pocket. Because really, they're doing most of the work. So I honestly don't put much of the money in my pocket that comes from the shop. It's used for offerings for the spirits, and that's the whole reason why I even opened the store. An old ass email I used for this account. This is Jenna from the group on Facebook. Okay, I'm horrible with names. I don't know who you are, Jenna. I'm sorry. A lot of people in the groups, you know. Thank you for everything, your knowledge, your vids, your lessons, just for being who you are. A real deal. Want to congratulate you. Well, thank you, Carlos. I buy a case of Florida water at a time on my... Yes, I do too. I buy candles by the case. I buy Florida water by the case. When I go to the church and get holy water, I get gallons. Like, spirits ain't cheap, y'all. They are not cheap. And when you get into initiations and ATRs, you're talking big bucks. But every time I need to receive something, or I'm told I need to receive something, the money usually shows up, you know, from somewhere. Somehow the money comes to me. I have 2 things I'm supposed to go back. I got 2 more things I'm supposed to receive right now, but the money hasn't come yet, and I'm not pushing it. You know, when the money comes, it'll come, and that's when, you know, everything has divine timing. Okay, even though I was told I need to go back and receive some things, if the money doesn't come to receive it, then it's not time to receive it yet. If it's meant, if it's supposed to be, then they will provide a way to do it. I have definitely learned that lesson. I'm going to buy from your shop once I get paid again. Well, thank you, Kiana. I appreciate it. My spirits appreciate it. Because I told him, I told him a couple nights ago, I was like, nothing. Because somebody did work on my business. Honestly, someone threw some shit at the business, and I'm doing work on it to get it off. And so my sales have not been great this month. I mean, enough to get by, but they could be better. So, I told everybody the other night, I'm like, hey, until that register starts ringing, we're cut off. Ain't nobody getting flowers. Ain't nobody, ain't nobody getting no more cigars. When the cigars are gone, they're gone. So the register got to start ringing before they're gonna get anything else. So I have a feeling they're gonna be wanting that. So I don't push anything. I let everything come in divine time. The first lesson I learned through initiation is patience. Yeah, that's the first thing you gonna learn is patience and shut your fucking mouth. That's the first two lessons you learn when you get initiated in any ATR tradition. Shut your mouth, don't fucking talk about it, and lots of patience. I can't keep up either. So many people in there, no worries, still love you. Oh, well, thank you. I tried to buy something like 10 times and it wouldn't go through? Are you talking about, Beth? Are you talking about my shop, or, in general you were trying? Because I've tried to buy stuff online, and shit'll start fucking up and I won't be able to, get it, and then I'll realize, hey, maybe I'm not supposed to have that thing. You try to buy something on my shop and it wouldn't go through? That's weird. I've never had anybody... I'm not accepting credit cards anymore. I was accepting them through Square. I opened a Square shop originally, but for some reason my products go against their guidelines, or so. I guess they're against spiritual products or something, which I don't understand, because other people are selling spiritual products to Square, and there's laws and rules, which I learned when you are selling spiritual products. If you noticed on every listing, it'll say sold as a curio, or it'll say alleged to do. You actually can't legally make a claim. It's basically a law from... Baby, can you fix that candle? It's all lopsided. She knocked it over. There's basically a law from, like, the 1800 old timies, like the snake oil salesmen and stuff. They made a law that you couldn't claim any health, medical, magical kind of benefit to any kind of product. Okay, so you always have to put alleged or curio or something on the product. So I quit taking credit cards on the site because Square shut me down. They said my products didn't meet their guidelines, which I don't understand. But I'm only taking PayPal now. Oh, you did try with PayPal. Well, you can't make promises. No, you can't make promises. Oh, Beth, this is bugging me. Did you try maybe from a different device? Like a tablet? Instead of a phone, or maybe a laptop? Or something like that? Maybe that's the reason why my sales aren't coming. Is there something wrong with the store? I don't know. Maybe I'll have a friend go in and try and do a test run and make sure. Yeah, try that and let me know, Beth. You can PM me on Facebook through the page and just let me know it's you. And, if it's still not working, please let me know, because that's definitely something I need to look into if it's not working. You Google, but you can't find my store. It's primitiverootsconjure.com. Rebecca is the website for the shop. primitiverootsconjure.com. That's going to be a struggle to learn. The patience, is that what you're talking about, Kiana? Yeah, I don't have any patience. But I learn it real freaking quick. You gotta be real patient with the initiations and stuff. I'm impatient and talk. In fact, I'll tell y'all, right after I got initiated, like I was in a month and I fucked up. I was in a month and I fucked up. I said some shit to somebody that I shouldn't have said, and I had to make amends. I had to make amends with the spirits of the house because they basically shunned me because I opened my mouth. You know, you learn it, but I learned. I learned my lesson. I ain't saying shit. Can you post a link in the description box after this live? Yes, I can. I will do that. Trying, but it isn't coming up. Okay, you can. That's weird. Go to my Facebook page, Primitive Roots Appalachian Conjure, on Facebook, and there's a link, a hyperlink to the shop on the page, and you can just click it, and it'll take you right there. If you guys are having issues in a web browser or whatever. Okay, guys. Anything else? We are going on 2 hours. Aren't you guys sick of my ass yet? Y'all sick of me? My battery is dying though. I'm on 5%. Okay, we're at 2 hours. We're going to close this down. I hope I helped you guys. I hope I was able to answer most of your questions. And we'll do this again. Hopefully one of these days they're going to let me practice my divination on y'all. I wasn't allowed tonight, but maybe sometime soon in the future. Maybe I'll do some more of these live vids. I probably won't do them very often because it'll get boring, you know, whatever. So, like, subscribe, and share, guys. Facebook page, Primitive Roots Appalachian Conjure. There's a link to the shop, Primitive Roots Conjure, on that page. So go check it out. Like the page, like the YouTube, subscribe, click the bell, smash that button, and share the video. Good night, guys.